Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at how to set up and work with our Rally style anti-lag programming within our linked G5 and G4X systems. Now, this tutorial is going to be focusing on how we can work with our Rally anti-lag in conjunction with drive-by-wire and an anti-lag valve. So we had a couple tutorials earlier in the training course talking about our Rally style anti-lag control that was based on using a stepper motor or pulse width modulated motor or even just a mechanical throttle body in order to achieve the effect with the Rally anti-lag. The best way to control the Rally anti-lag is going to be drive-by-wire and anti-lag valve. Now at this point, we've went over and set up all the things with our drive-by-wire control. We've set up our pedal position sensor, our throttle position sensors, and calibrated those to the link. We've set up our PID gains, min and max clamp, feed forward table values, got the system controlling properly. We've set up our e-throttle target tables, so we have a pedal plate relationship defined. And then we've also, in the last tutorial, set up our idle control. So now, our engine will start, run, and drive perfectly fine with our drive-by-wire control. We can introduce now drive-by-wire with anti-lag control in order to achieve the effect that we want with the Rally anti-lag. So if you've skipped over the other drive-by-wire tutorials, I definitely recommend to go back in and check them out, because if you don't have your drive-by-wire system set up, you really can't jump into the tutorial and do what we're showing and talking about in this training module. Okay, so now that we talked about the drive-by-wire integration here for this tutorial, let's talk about what we have going on with a Rally anti-lag. So we're just going to talk about the concept here. So in a Rally anti-lag, we want to build boost when we're in lift throttle and overrun conditions. Now normally, we're not going to find that we're going to build any boost if we're on a turbocharged engine and we're not implementing some type of a Rally anti-lag control. What we do is retard the timing heavily. We bring a lot more air mass into the engine, and then we also have some type of a fuel or a spark cut to create a late combustion type of effect that's going to drive up our exhaust mass flow, which is going to drive up our turbine speed, our compressor speed, and generate boost pressure in a overrun lift throttle condition. Now, typically in lift throttle, you'll find your throttle shuts, the air mass coming into the engine goes way down, and therefore your exhaust mass flow goes way down. So in the Rally anti-lag, we get creative to try to drive up that exhaust mass flow by introducing airflow into the engine through either idle control motor or, in this case, drive-by-wire, in order to build up higher air mass, to build up higher exhaust mass, which then will spin that turbo and generate boost. Now, we also, in this tutorial, are going to learn how we can integrate an anti-lag valve. An anti-lag valve is unique because it's going to take boost pressure, typically from our charge pipe, and it's going to be pushing it into our exhaust manifold before the turbo to generate higher exhaust mass flow. An anti-lag valve actually makes it really easy to generate boost pressure as long as we have our cut and our ignition retard correct with our Rally anti-lag. And it takes a lot of the stress off of the engine, off the exhaust valves, and off our turbine wheel. We don't need to drive our exhaust temperatures as aggressively and as hot as when we don't have an anti-lag valve. So the anti-lag valve is something I absolutely recommend to integrate when you're doing Rally anti-lag control to do it properly. So what we're going to find here is that we need to program the Rally anti-lag to do our cut, to do our ignition retard, and to control the system properly. And then we're going to also learn how we can work with the anti-lag valve in conjunction with our drive-by-wire throttle body. We actually open our throttle body. So we have our pedal plate relationship. We have our Excel pedal that we put our foot on in the car. We have our drive-by-wire throttle plate. When we're using the Rally anti-lag, we're going to find we lift off the throttle, and then we actually keep the throttle plate open a decent amount to allow a bunch of airflow in, which drives up the air mass, which drives up the exhaust mass flow. And then we also use that anti-lag valve to inject the air into the exhaust manifold. The combination of higher air mass and the higher amount of actual pressurized air pushing into the exhaust manifold really drives up the turbine speed and builds that boost pressure. So what we're going to find here is that we need to learn the tips and tricks to get both working together properly. So the drive-by-wire and the anti-lag valve. It's pretty simple, but there are some things that we need to know. So let's jump here from our fuel page. Let's go over and find our anti-lag page and start to turn some things on and talk about the general setup and the strategy we have to work with. So we're going to go here from our layout here and jump all the way down here to Rally anti-lag. That's our very last page. We're going to find that we have our ability to turn the feature on or off. Right now, we're going to set our anti-lag mode to on. Let's go ahead and do that. And then it's going to ask me, do you want to clear out the existing tables and put them to the default axes and table values? We'll say yes here just to get things going. We'll say yes, yes, yes. We see the table start to populate. And then we'll see, we want to double check that the fuel cut table here is appearing in the correct window, ignition cut, fuel trim, and ignition trim table. So all of these are appearing in the correct window. Sometimes it tries to switch around the tables here. It gets a little confusing. Okay, so looking at this, we have our anti-lag system arming. This is going to be turning the anti-lag feature on or off. I highly recommend setting this to a toggle switch or to your CAN keypad to be able to disable the feature. We can see down here, we have the ability to go down and we have our CAN digital inputs we can assign this to, or we can assign it to an actual digital input here that we're wiring a switch into the link. For right now, I'm going to set it to always on just so I can do demonstration here. And it's going to set the Rally anti-lag to be in the always on arm state. We'll click OK here. But again, I recommend putting on some type of a switch. Now the anti-lag solenoid, this is important. This is going to be how we are controlling the anti-lag valve to open when we want the system to start to work. The anti-lag valve or the anti-lag...
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here. And you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.